The best of money matters. Wealth Tracker.
Welcome to the Wealth Tracker, where we dive into the uncharted territories of niche investment strategies that promise to redefine wealth. Hello, I'm Hongbin Jeong. Now, ultra-high net worth individuals have a unique approach to wealth building, marked by sophisticated investment strategies, diversification across asset classes, and a long-term focus on growth. While many people dream of achieving financial freedom, the path to doing so at the ultra-wealthy level requires careful planning, strategic decision-making, and the ability to navigate complex financial landscapes. So how do ultra-high net worth individuals protect their wealth through investment strategies, especially in uncertain economic climates? What can we learn from them? Well, to find out more, joining me now is Lionel Lee, who's a money expert at the Better Foundation. Lionel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Hongbin. Thanks for having me again on the show.
Thank you so much for joining me again, Lionel. Lionel, the global ultra-high net worth population is growing, according to several wealth reports. But what's attributed to this rise in the UHNW population? Is it just the rich people are getting richer, or are more people in general getting richer?
I think generally across the globe, from statistics available from major markets like the US, UK, parts of Europe, Australia, not so much from Singapore.
Okay.
The upper middle class and the high net worth individual net worth are growing. So the population of upper middle class and high net worth individuals, that growing number, they basically adds to the overall, I guess, ultra high net worth that's available around the globe. So it's across the board within these two segments. And the other part, attribute to the growth of the ultra high net worth individual segment globally, I think can be summarized in maybe the fact that financial times have actually been positive in the recent decade, and that has actually helped to increase the amount of net worth available.
You mentioned not so much in Singapore there. Is there a reason for that?
Just statistics-wise, yeah.
Okay.
I think we collected information, but the breadth and depth of information available in Singapore on ultra-high net worth individuals, their behavior across lifestyle, spend, investments are actually quite thin.
I see. Well, diving into the world of ultra-high net worth individuals here, what types of investments are most commonly used by these ultra-high net worth individuals to build and maintain their wealth? I mean, what asset classes do they look into?
Ultra high net worth individuals, I think we tend to generalize. I am seeing them from basically two segments. So I call them the boomer ultra high net worth individuals and the Gen Z/millennial ultra high net worth individuals. So for boomers, they are traditionally having their wealth both generated and maintained in asset classes that I think most individuals, most listeners are familiar with. So you see them having real estate, stocks, bonds, they are in infrastructure, they are in family and private businesses. Whereas the Gen Z and millennials tend to be a little bit more exciting when it comes to where their wealth is built and where it's maintained. So you see private equity, venture capital, hedge funds, as well as crypto popping up with this particular segment.
I see. Well, then what role do alternative investments such as, private equity, hedge funds, real estate, or art play in achieving financial freedom for these individuals? Are they more of a status thing, to show their status or wealth, or do they really go for these alternatives for investment returns?
I think generally the ultra high net worth individual segment globally are looking at investment returns. So investment returns would be first priority. But it also really depends. It's a generalization, but of course, it differs from individuals to individuals. There are groups of individuals who are different in terms of the way they look at alternatives because of their lifestyle. It's also largely because of the way they've made their money. And so, for example, if you are in a flashy business or you made your money from fast trading, the way in which you approach alternatives would be different. So they would be looking at alternatives like, for example, maybe wine or other forms of beverages. They might be putting more of their investments into digital assets. They might be putting more of their investments into supercars, luxury yachts. As well.
I see. What about in terms of luxury investments then? I mean, what strategies do these individuals use to identify emerging trends in luxury investments, such as, appreciating art or limited edition collectibles?
Strategy-wise, I think a lot of ultra high net worth individuals use what I would call private access. So I don't know if it's a strategy, but definitely that allows them to get first tabs on anything that is rare. And so private access would be like they've got private clubs, they've got syndicates that they are part of, and they also have direct access to the source of that particular product as well. So it could be an individual that's a famous artist, they've got a relationship with that artist directly, and so they then get the first steps on a piece that the artist will be producing, or even a customized piece. So for them, it's about the access and then making sure that the supply is limited. So if they are one of, for example, 5 in the world that have that particular luxury collection or that particular edition, then it makes the value increase over time.
I see. Then how do these individuals also approach luxury real estate investments? I mean, what factors are most important when selecting high-end properties?
With luxury properties, I think it depends on the motive. So if they are looking at luxury property from a user perspective, as in it's going to be one of their homes or their home, then they're going to be looking at it from a emotional perspective. So there's emotional connection. It has to fit in with their lifestyle habits. The investment return may not actually be the primary driver. But if they are looking at investment as the main motive, then there are many factors that would come into play. I would summarize it in one simple question. And the question they will ask themselves when they choose that luxury property is, which other ultra high net worth individual is itching to buy my luxury property? So that helps that question. When they answer it, the multifaceted answer will determine where, what and where they buy.
That's a very interesting question there. Well, speaking of luxury investments as well, are there particular luxury investment categories that have kind of shown a consistent track record of appreciation over the years?
I think most of the high net worth and ultra high net worth community look at limited edition. But again, I don't claim to be an expert where it comes to luxury and rare collectibles, but certainly the word rare is important. So if they're looking at anything that appreciates over a long period of time, the super limited supply and a ever increasing demand will allow that particular item to increase in value. So yes, there are limited edition watches, there are limited edition cars, there are even limited edition sneakers, but the value that increases over time will be much less than what is really rare. So maybe a common example that listeners are familiar with, if you take the Van Gogh collection of art, right? So unfortunately, that individual is no longer with us, and that's one of the reasons why his pieces are in the hundreds of millions.
I see. Well, how do these individuals also manage, risks in their investment portfolios, especially in terms of diversification and global economic factors?
I think risks, the textbook answer from their bankers and their financial advisors will be to diversify across asset classes and across markets.
Okay.
So my take is that when you do that, you are actually also exposed to more risks from those asset classes and from those markets. So my approach to risk management is to focus the majority of the net worth on what is stable and then choose a couple of blockbusters.
I see. Well, speaking of the ultra-rich here, the great wealth transfer is happening where we'll see trillions of dollars transferred from baby boomers to younger generations over a 20-year span. So how do these ultra-high net worth individuals incorporate estate planning into their investment strategies as well to ensure financial freedom is kind of passed down to future generations?
The common perception is that ultra high net worth individuals are financially astute. I think the reality is not all of them are, and so therefore a lot of them are actually making mistakes with estate planning. So one of the mistakes is they think about transferring wealth to the next generation, they go out and they buy products. The second thing that comes to mind is we need an estate plan of some kind. I feel that in my conversations with fellow single family office and ultra high net worth individuals in different parts of the world, the focus or the starting point should be about having long, open conversations with the next generation. And those conversations should focus on what the values, the beliefs, the attitudes of the transferring generation are, and also take into account the views of the inheriting generation, which is the next generation, and also understand from them what are they planning to do with the money or with the wealth that they are inheriting. And from there itself come to some kind of consensus. That consensus actually then forms the wealth management playbook for the individuals and their families. The estate planning strategies are then derived from there. So to me, that would be the starting point.
Right. I mean, in fact, a 20-year U.S. study found that 70% of wealthy families lost their wealth by the second generation and 90% by the third. Is this because, perhaps the inheritant generation, they're more focused on spending the money rather than, growing the wealth?
I think the conflict or the challenge is because the first generation typically are the ones that created the wealth. They built the wealth. They generated the wealth. By the time it comes to the third generation who are inheritors of the wealth, especially if the first and second generation has set up the entire inheritance plan so perfect, the third generation basically just collects a stipend on a monthly basis. So for them, it's free money. So the beliefs, values, and attitudes may not have been passed down from first, second to third. So they are operating from a perception or from a space whereby it's free money on a monthly basis. I just spend it. And so therefore they are not concerned or maybe less concerned about ways to actually maintain that wealth, maybe grow on the inheritance that they have. Some of them might not even be interested. So just leave it to their bankers, that their parents or their grandparents had set up years ago, and just leave it to third-party management. So they're not proactive at all. That lack of proactivity can be detrimental over time because that wealth, even if they're not spending it exorbitantly, could just dwindle because nothing's being done to maintain it.
Right. I mean, we've got a little sneak peek of the ultra-high net worth here. But Lionel, before we let you go here, if there's one thing we can learn from how ultra-high net worth individuals invest, what would it be and what can we take away from it?
Okay, if our listeners out there do not recall anything, from this conversation between I and Hongbin, just remember one thing. Financial freedom happens, it takes place with one intentional dollar. So I always remind my School of Money students in the States and in Australia that it doesn't matter how much money you have. Make every dollar count towards upping your net worth. So this will then guide the way in which you achieve financial freedom and ultimately, hopefully, become an ultra-high net worth individual yourself.
I see. Well, thank you so much, Lionel, for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, Hongbin.
That was Lionel Lee, who's the money expert of the Better Foundation. This has been the Wealth Tracker with me, Hongbin Jeong.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance. To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.